Okay,
You are live now. Yes.
good to know, man. Good
So
to
good to go. Okay, before so you recommended me this book. How you came to know about this book? That's the first thing.
Simple. One of my friends suggested that book.
Okay.
Yeah,
And before that, you knew the Trevor Noah, like who was that, or you have seen his work?
not much. So I mean, he was a host for the Daily Show, right? I
Yeah,
don't remember the news channel. I just
yeah.
know his face. I don't even like his name as Trevor Noah, or he has written a memoir or something. So
Hmm.
what about you?
I knew him, like I have seen his work, that same that night show, and I have seen few of the parts, right? So in US they have the comedians do this Republican food, like where they go and roast the uh, president and Democrats and Republicans both, right? Like if you know, so all the great artists. So I think he did in 2020 or 21, I don't know, somewhere he did. So I have seen the clips of that, like when he did that. So I remember from that, like, so when you suggested that, so I knew, okay, I have known this guy, that's it. And I've seen a couple of clips here and there in YouTube or somewhere. Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah,
Hmm.
but I can recognize his face and all, but I was really not sure what type of stand-up comedy or show that he runs also. So
Yeah. Nice. So start with, right. I don't know. So for you, it's almost 2 years you have read this book, but I have just finished week ago, right? And then one good thing, right? Before that, whatever the book I have read, like it's ran for almost 3 or 4 months or something like that. I never finished book that early. So in that way, it's kind of achievement for me that I am able to finish it in few weeks, not even months, right? Like it's in 3 weeks I'm able to finish it. So it has that glue, right, which keep you to keep reading and in that way. And before that, for me, it's always like uh, I have to force myself to read, right? Like it's like you how you prepare for the university exam, right? In
yeah,
that way, I have to say, okay, for next 30 minutes, I'm going to read. I will put everything on pause, like put my mobile on silent, and then read. How about you? Like how you read the book? Is it, or do you have any pattern or like any method of
I
reading?
so I try to pick from different areas, and my main interest is always with medicine actually. Though I'm
Hmm?
from engineering background, but I'm always interested in diagnostics. Like it is similar to the engineering issues that we debug, how a disease can occur, how people will solve those cases, something like that. So
Yeah.
uh, and I do very like big research whenever I'm picking up a book. It's not like I just pick up a book. uh,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
yeah, I usually get suggestions from podcasts or from friends or something like that. But whenever someone gives me a book, right, they give
Mm-hmm.
me a hard copy, I'll definitely read it. So Bone Crime is one of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So when you say medicine, what which book you have read in that field? And
In
any
the
specific book? Yeah.
Yeah, man, there is one book. Uh, it's not autobiography of a yogi. It's not Paramahamsa Yogananda's book. There is
Okay.
another spiritual person called Sriyam. So
Okay.
his autobiography is also written. That is also a gift to me. I read that, and recently I also got autobiography of Yogi. Uh,
Okay.
and there is one more famous book, man. Same person who has given Bone Crime, who has given me this. The I was going to recommend you this. It's in the list, like two
Okay.
coming. Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. So
Oh, I read that one.
you
I
read
read
that?
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
I
nice
think it
book.
was big hype, right? Like this book was everywhere. Like everyone was recommending this book. I think year back or something after
Correct,
that public.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So
But I
yeah.
mean, as a whole, okay. I mean, I don't want to talk about that book. Yeah. Oh,
Okay, I think we can start with Born and Crime. So first thing first, right? Like the first chapter itself, like it start with that Immortality Act 1927 or something, right? Which was nice way of starting, right? Like, okay, the disclaimer sort of thing, where you get to know about, okay, there is a law, something like that. And then initial part was the run, right? And the way he talk about, right, like how his mother throw him out of the bus thing. Uh, and the way the narration happened is like it's really, you can visualize the each part of it, right? Like, okay, you can see, okay, it's kind of movie you are watching, right? That he's sitting in the bus, someone is kind of molest or harassing them, and then mother is kind of savior and throw him out of the bus. And so that was amazing. Like that's the first glue, like kind of where you can connect to the book very in a way that, okay, you are, it's like just watching a movie or Netflix series or something. uh, so yeah.
So
Do you recall that incident? I really like that how it was narrated in that book.
no, I don't remember about the molestation and all, but
Yeah,
I remember they actually jump out of the bus or a van,
yeah,
something like that,
yeah,
a speed breaker or something, right?
yeah.
Mother first throws Trevor Noah outside, and then she jumps out of it. So that is accurate, right?
Yeah, that's correct, right? They were kind of afraid, like they were late from the church and everything, and then they were alone in the bus, so
Right. Yes.
they thought something will go wrong. Uh, yeah,
But before you come up with it, so I want to talk about this actually.
yes,
So my favorite chapter in the whole book is uh, the prom party thing. It's like I I was like thinking about the story for like 2 3 days. You remember that story where he goes to the prom party, but uh,
yeah,
his date is someone like who doesn't speak his language at all.
yes,
So, very very good story. I was like very surprised. Like who guesses that? Like she's not coming out of the car, and someone comes and like his friends comes out to help him, right?
yeah.
But wonderful story, man. Actually, I was part of a Toastmaster club. Like not now, 3 years
Mm-hmm.
back. I was part of the club for like 8 months or 9 months. So any of the speeches I have given, people might not have connected to me, but I told this Trevor story as my story, and everyone is like friends with me because of that story. Everyone thought that I went to a prom party, and so I forgot, but I added the suspense thing in the story.
Yeah,
It's my favorite story from the book.
yeah. It was nice, right? And then it's true in a sense, right? Sometimes you are so involved with the end result that you don't notice things, right? Like how things like happen in sometime that you're just thinking about the end thing, right? Like you just wanted to achieve that, and then in between you don't paying attention to this thing, right? That was amazing, yeah.
Maybe, man, maybe he was too young. Maybe if you were young, also you do that. Now I am not sure. So
Maybe not for the girl, but for other things, right? Like you will like when you're uh, I don't know how to put it in some example of it, but if you're just thinking about like to go somewhere, right, to reach there, but you're not paying attention to the what is right now happening, like you're just too much into that end thing that
yeah,
happens.
it
So
can very much happen.
yeah. And also I like, so for me the best chapter was the last one, like the way he described like when his mother got shot and he rushes to her, and then when there is one paragraph where he said, right, like the doctor asked for the money, right, it could, so mother didn't have the insurance, so it can cost the fortune. And there was that flick, right, he think whether it's really worth to pay that much of money, right. He mentioned that there was a thought that, and then he mentioned that as a child we are not capable enough to have that selfless love for the parents, like mother has that love, right, like how she throw it. So the first chapter where to save her kid he threw out of the bus and rolled it around it, but when it's time come for a kid to pay its debt, not the debt, but I would say in that relationship, when it's time to give back, right, there is a thought where he was like, okay, should I do it or is it really worth it? Then there was that fraction of thoughts, right, which was there.
Yeah.
And then he said like, as a child we are not capable enough to do that selfless love. Like we are not built for that. As in that's how we are.
I
So
mean, okay, I don't remember, man. It's very nice to know, and it's very nice to hear that you connected that first and the
yeah,
conclusion part.
yeah,
But good, right? Good that like we all go through such thoughts, even
yeah,
positive. Okay, I cannot say negative positive. There are no thoughts like that.
yeah. Now you're a parent, so you will feel that, right? Like that will be like you can do anything for your kid. That will feeling will be there, right? Like you can relate to that emotion. I feel.
So much, man. I'm such a person. Like if I'm sleeping, if anyone disturbs me, if anyone calls me when I'm sleeping, or anyone wakes me up, right? I get very angry. But now she's the one who is sleeping next to me, and she's like she does this. I don't get angry now. So yeah, I can feel it, I think.
Yeah, true. Apart from that, what I liked is how he mentioned about this apartheid era, like how like, and the question how you mentioned about this book to me, right? Like you want to know how the white peoples are in the South Africa team. Like the first the default narration, which okay, South Africa means you think as in black people. Of course, I'm being racist when I say this comment, but but that's how it is. We perceive the word, right? And how that narration happened, like how this white people ended up in the South Africa and the whole history of South Africa about the apartheid, and then how the Nelson Mandela comes and demolished that, and even after that, how many struggles are. So I think the way he put it is nice. So to you, like how you describe the apartheid, like if you have to put it in some words, or
So that was something always a question, right? When I was a kid watching South Africa playing, I have seen only Anthony. So you know Makai Anthony, right? The bowler. So
Mhm.
he's the only guy that I seem like a different color compared to others. I'm surprised. Okay, why? How is this guy there with them playing? So I never knew that. I mean, to be honest, until I read this book, I was never tried to check in Google or Wikipedia or anywhere why this type of people are there. Like I mean, it's not about racism, but yeah, whites and
Yeah,
blacks. There. The mix is how the mix happened there. So yeah, so they are all Dutch people, and I don't think they went back to their home yet. Not sure.
yeah,
The same happened in India, but
yeah.
so about apartheid you said, right? He says
Hmm.
one sentence where uh, at least British are better, like the way I don't remember exactly what he says, but he says that if you speak their language, at least they
Ah,
consider you as one of them. But Dutch
yeah,
don't do that at all. So I mean, it was very tough to live in such circumstances actually. I mean, yeah.
yeah. So you mentioned about the language, and I think so. He was kind of character who was always able to find the loopholes in the system, right? In a way that so for example this language thing, right? And he mentioned that cleverly, right? That there is this whole racism thing is stupid, right? Because you try to put everything in the color, but when someone with a different color speak their language of the other one, the mind get confused, and it's like what's going, this is not what is expected. And then and language could be the very great way to connect with anyone. That's what I take it from the book, right? Like even that's make you give you the belonging, right? Like, and then that's what I feel as in today as well, right? Like so I always speak Hindi, right? Like that's the first language. And when I move even within the India, right? Like I'm so moving to so in Pune, I before that I was in Pune. So there also you see, right? Everyone around you is speaking the Marathi, and very easy quickly you can be outcasted in the conversation, right? And the same here, right? Karnataka, like if you are going to some out place and if you don't know the language, you are kind of outcasted very easily. That's the natural way of it, right? So language is such a tool, right? If you master it in a right way, it can give you so much advances in that way. I don't know how to put it, but yeah. uh,
It is, man. It is actually. It is very essential. Uh, but I don't know how. But India is still surviving that way. Even I have that problem if I cross the border or somewhere. I'm
Yeah.
seeing people. Uh, I mean, in my hometown, so we have a like nearby electric plant is there, and so now we have a lot of North Indians coming up and working here. Now I'm seeing those
Hmm.
people are struggling. So yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean Trevor also speaks how many languages? He says like 7, 8
Yeah.
dialects.
6 or 7, yeah, something.
Yeah, I mean that is also one thing which we didn't know, right? So, like South Africa has multiple languages, but at
Yeah.
least in India, we can India also I think have many languages, but the scripted the language that have script is something maybe 30, 40, not more than that I think.
Mm. I was kind of able to connect so many things from South Africa to India. Like it's so the way British ruled is quite similar how they did it, right? Divide and conquer thing, right? It was pretty much same thing, right? There they did it on the basis of that language and everything. Here also, uh, not exactly the same, but the script was kind of right. You divide the people and rule them. Like it was same theme, and then I really like that how they have literally done the research, right? So he mentioned right how the apartheid rule was created is the people went to Australia, New Zealand, Netherlands, and they literally did the research that what really works when you have to rule the country where the majority of the different uh, majority is different and you wanted to rule them, right? How to do that, and so you come up with all these stupid laws, and that's how you rule, right? And
Yeah,
yeah, that's interesting.
but even to India, if you remember, the first person who came for trading is Dutch only, not British.
Yeah, I think he mentioned somewhere, right? So the South
Is it
Africa
Dutch?
to India, right? The trading thing, right? The first company was something Dutch, India is company, something like that. I don't remember. So he mentioned that it was linked to South Africa
East India.
to India. Yeah, something like that. I think so. It was some even I found it somewhere, but I don't know.
Oh, I think East India Company was English, so it is British.
I don't know. I need to double check on that. What was that?
Dutch East India Company is also there.
And now we are talking about this, and the Queen has died past week. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, what is symbolized in a way?
No idea, man. No idea what that Queen does. No, actually, I don't follow current affairs much. So, but
Okay.
I heard that Queen Elizabeth has died, but I'm not sure what that actually means to that country itself. So I don't know.
Okay. So there is a show on Netflix about Queen. Like they have,
Okay.
I think, 3 or 4 seasons. It just talk about how this thing
Yeah.
works. So it was really nice, and that's how I think they made it popular. Like after the show, like everyone knows, okay, there is a Queen Elizabeth, and how the way they have portrayed about it, right? Like uh, the Queen. So that's make the whole Queen thing so much popular after that show, and
Okay.
that's why everyone is so much have the opinion, right, and interested talking about it because everybody now know a little bit about that. But I felt like in that show it's all about the positive side, or like they are not showing when this colonial law whatever that they done to India and all this other country, right? I think we have suffered much, but also we have learned few things, right? Like that is also there. Like few credit goes to that part that they make it more there was all the argument, right? Does the British rule make the Indian more civilized? uh, so
Really?
Yeah, there was a thread. So people have their own opinion. Of course, we as an Indian won't want to believe that, but there are few things. Of course, we learn from that part as well. Like, uh, but yeah, it's it can be
Yes.
debatable. Like, it's a good topic to have a debate. I don't know.
I mean, definitely, I want to know about the distinction actually when you have a queen running and when you have people also electing the like prime minister or someone, right? So
Hmm.
I don't know how that actually works, that system. Both, I think they have both of them coexisting, right? It's not like,
In Britain,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So it's like as of today, it's the prime minister is kind of running the country, but it's like the position which is above that, right? So there is a thing, right? If you are meeting the queen, the even the prime minister has to bow down and do that thing, right? Like so they kind of able to even in 2022 they are able to keep that their prestigious status, right? Which is quite strange, and how they are able to pull it, right? So we also had the king and everything, right? Like big king and everyone, but we are kind of it's faded away now. We don't see that in picture, but they were able to still continue their traditions, and they put above all the other labels or what designations, right? So the prime minister is the biggest one, but he has to bow down to queen, which makes the queen is the like, even though every day to day things are run by the prime minister only, but like it's logical thing, like it's put you more power, right? The prime minister has to bow down whenever he is visiting. So yeah,
going down is
and
okay.
they do have the influence as well, right? Like so, if it's not like completely like they have to, if it's like at least whatever I'm quoting, it's from the Netflix, whatever I learned, right? So they have to give the report about how the country is doing and all that, right? So Queen is kind of aware what's learned from the prime minister itself, that what are going on in the country and all that. So that is there.
All right. So
Yeah.
that reminds me of another chapter in this book, man, where he talks about Holocaust.
Yeah.
So I mean, no one knows that, right? Like everyone thinks that Holocaust is the uh, what do you call it, biggest tragedy that ever happened. Is if you see,
Yeah.
there are lot of books also, like who are survived from that time, right? They have written a lot of books and those people became famous, but nobody really talks about what actually happens in Africa, what happened in India. So yeah, many
Hmm.
many incidents would have really happened, but no one actually talks about it.
Yeah. That's kind of applied to everything, right? So whatever the history we know is whatever is being written, right? So there are so many bigger incident might have happened when there is no proof of it, right? Like whatever we know, it's just coming from that few historians who have written it, and then also the version of it, right? It's always going to be biased, right? Because the person is writing it. So I see a whole the history thing is like biased one, right? Like you cannot took it as a fact, because man, it's written by the human, which is by default in nature biased. So they see the event in certain way, and that's how they will tell it. So yeah, but yeah, you're right. Like we don't know the Holocaust. They make it like it's the biggest tragedy or which happened in the history, but there could be other, right, which has no record how many people died. Nobody knows in all this uh, apartheid era, like the riots which happened even after that, right? There is no count of that people and everything. But I think we are in the such a era that digital documenting, right? The kind of data what we are generating, we are creating legacy, man. Like every record, every statement which you said, it's recorded and will be there even after you die, which is kind of amazing. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Then the problem comes, like how do you find that information? So uh, that will be the biggest problem. Like I don't know, people will never going to find Rishi and Pradeep talking about apartheid or Holocaust, right? It's
But
impossible.
there is like if someone really wanted to find it, it is there. But that itself is kind of advancement in the uh, in a way, right? Because today, if you want to know like how we find the freedom, right, in 1947, we just know few things which is taught in our school or education system. That's it, right? There is no other way to find it. Now it's been documented and versioned by different people. Everyone has an opinion and saying something and putting it, whether it's in form of text, Twitter, or somewhere, right? So that would be interesting. How after the 50 year people see today's event and will be commenting on that. That would be like mesmerizing. Like how things will turn out at that point of time. Like they can pinpoint and say, "Hey, this guy made the wrong policy, and that's changed the course of how things happen today." Right? They will be able to find that uh, initiation where it happened. Like that's when its wrong decision has been made. Of course, it doesn't make a difference in reality, but you have something to dig on and then say, "Yeah, you are the wrong guy." That's why today we are here. Something like that.
No idea, man. Like every policy advantage and disadvantage. I don't know if you can like pinpoint and say, okay, this guy did this because of this. All this turmoil happened. I don't know. Yeah, but
Yeah, like people can come to the conclusion with some facts, right? Like picking up, of course, it's going to be not that straightforward, right? Because that's not the truth. Whenever something happens, it's not just like to one day. It's the so many factors are involved. But from the objectification, if you have to do things right and then come to a conclusion or something.
truths
Yeah.
are always distorted, man. So always past, present, future, wherever you go. I think
Yeah. Okay. I think we moved away
what
from the
else,
book,
man?
but
So
on that book, another thing which I liked as an about this character is the side hustle. What he mentioned, right? So he learned how to uh, create this music CD and everything. Okay, I think I lost you. Let's check.
you can see me now. I think.
Yes, now I can see you.
Okay. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Anyways, so another thing, what I was saying is the side hustle part, which you mentioned, right? That I really like.
Which one?
So the side hustle he did for earning the money, right? So in the school itself, he was like the kind of guy to get the food, right? He since he was so fast, he run and take the order from the bulk and then distribute, and in that way
Yeah.
he earned some money. And later also he talk about right how he learned to create this MP3 CDs, right? So he will just download this track and then sell it to the people and kind of run that business sort of thing. So that is nice. Like,
That is kind of something we can relate to actually in those times. At least we were there when series was being written.
yeah. But have you ever done like any side hustle in your childhood or any time
Tried,
to
man.
earn?
Was not profitable.
No, not just the CD thing. Like anything, like any side hustle you did as a kid to get some extra buck or something.
Maybe once or twice. As I said, like couple of times I did. After that, it was not profitable, and then I left it. What about you?
No, like same. I might have did few things here and there, but nothing like which makes it. But I think it's really nice. Like if you have such experiences as a kid, right? You kind of understand what is the need and what is the product. Like it's kind of that's how the any startup or any word, right? Like if you learn this thing quickly, right? You know like what people want. So it's like you kind of understand the problem, right? And that's kind of a skill itself that You look at your environment and say, hey, that's the problem and that's the need which people have. And then you
Yeah.
can come up with something, which is a skill. Like, and I think I don't have it at least.
No,
Yeah.
even I don't, and I think every kid and everyone should have it actually. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
don't know the value of money you're spending.
Yeah.
So, uh, I think, fortunately or unfortunately, of my parents, be like, I was not always the one like who spends too much. So they always economical and spendthrift. Lucky for them.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know about my future though, but yeah,
yeah. Same. Yeah. I never had, I don't recall any childhood memory where I was like, I need this, like, so aggressively. Like, they will explain me, oh, not this time, or it's not required. I will like, oh, okay, fine. I don't need it. Like that kind of boy. So, yeah.
the same with me.
Yeah.
But definitely, man, definitely, everyone should have that skill. It's a big
Yeah.
skill, right? It's a sales skill, I would say, and everyone
Yeah.
should.
Yeah. In some sense, you should know how to sell, irrespective of in which field you are. You should
Correct.
know the sales pitch should be there, even if it's about you, how to sell yourself, right? That's what it is, right? To earn money. If you try to boil down, that's what we are doing, right?
Yeah.
We are trying to sell our skills or whatsoever. So if you don't do it well, you will always struggle in life. That okay, that you will feel that friction if you are not good with it.
So, I mean, I always find this, man. Like if I definitely people know Rajamouli, right? So everyone looks at his marketing. Nobody understands his marketing and sales skills, man. He's a good marketing person, if you ask me. If I watch his movies, right? If I compare with other movies, they are not that great. Honestly,
Hmm.
I know I'll be
Yeah.
judged for this, but in my opinion, he doesn't put much thought into the like how good a scene can be, but how he can very well market any kind of scene. So he's such type of person. So anywhere, like if you can market your skills, you can sell yourself, right? You will be in the top, no doubt. Uh, it
And
does how
since you
bad.
mentioned it, right? Uh, so if you are a good salesman, you are a good storyteller by default, and
Correct.
that's what it makes it linked, right? So he can tell you the story a very nice way, right? Like he's good storyteller, right? And that is the same thing which goes to salespeople as well, right? Like, can you tell this story? Because people understand in form of story, right? That's the best way people remember you or remember things, right? In the form of a story that sticks when you tell the story versus if you just. So I don't know if you notice this, right? If you, so that's why we even to our kid we will say the story, right? And that story will stick compared to if you just say the lessons of that, right? Like say you have to be honest, right? That
Correct.
thing will not stick, but if you tell it in the form of story,
Correct.
that's going to have long laster. So
You attach a
yeah.
moral at the end of the story, so the
Yeah.
story will stick. I
Yeah.
mean, same thing goes with Born Crime also, right? Even I have read some other books. I don't remember most of the stories. Like maybe, if even if you ask me, currently I'm reading Emotional Intelligence. Okay, uh, I've completed 20% of the book only. But if you ask me what happened in first and second chapter, I don't recall anything. Very
Yeah.
tough. But Trevor Noah, it's been 3 years. Still, I am able to recollect those stories. Means, yeah, so storytelling has such a power.
Yeah, that's true.
And one other part in the book, man. So I think they have a that weekly churches thing, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, his mother takes him in like every Sunday. I think so every Sunday in that old car.
Everything. Yeah.
That's one funny story, one nice story actually.
Yeah, and the way he explained, right? So he first goes to white church, then the black church, and then there was a mixed church as well. So they used to go all the three church.
Yeah,
So that's the good part, right? Like he is telling you one part, and underlying that he is talking about how that discrimination and the or all that wrong things which are happening in the society, right? At the same time, so you're laughing in one moment that what is this stupid thing is going on, and then at the same time there is subtle. message that, oh, something wrong is going on, right? Like how people
Yeah.
are doing things. Yeah, that's really nice.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it has all the tinge of comedy, but if you understand it, there is so much, what do you call, suppression he faced,
Yeah,
if you ask.
yeah,
And also the stories when, like, the things that happens at his grandmother's house also. I think they move into grandmother's house, and
yeah,
uh, he kind of explains the environment. You can actually imagine.
yeah.
Okay, he kind of lived in this house, and very nice way to, like,
True. Also, so he there is so much talk about how his mother got married to this. Oh, I forgot the name. Is it was Adam or Abel? Sorry, Abel. Yeah, Abel. It's Abel. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's so
second
I'm calling
husband
it
of
Abel.
husband.
So first husband was that Swiss German guy, right? So
Yeah,
that Robert. That's the name,
yeah,
Robert. But later on, she get married to Abel guy, right? Like. Who finally shoot her. Yeah, right there. So even that explanation, right? How the domestic abuse was so normal in South Africa, and that explanation was also nice. And there is another explanation, right? So he explained her mother as a very strong character, right? Which kind of has the rebellion nature and all that. But then there was a time, right, when she get married to this guy, and he reaches out, right? Why you are with this person? And she was like, "That's how it is." And it was so emotional to that, right? Like if I find it very interesting, right? That why people kind of stick in some abusive relationship, right? That was kind of mentioned there, right? Like uh, and kind of they accept it, right? Like, and that's the reason people be there, and so that's why she said, right, you go away, right, because that's the toxic environment and I don't want to be part of this, but this is my fate, I accepted it already, so I'm going to being part of it, and she pushed her son away from that environment. So yeah,
yeah. I think the yeah, this is one more, like, testament to what we actually think about. I actually think about, like, why the good people always tag to the wrong person. So no idea why those things happen, but
is it the opposite attracts sort of thing or something else?
no idea, dude. No idea. Maybe our emotions. Maybe.
Yeah. I really recall, right? So when her mother get pregnant and has the third child, that I said, he was like so pissed and like he mentioned that emotion, right? It was, it was so real, right? Like that's what everyone will feel, right? Like how can you get pregnant in this situation, right? You whole the time you wanted to move away from this relationship, and then you are saying now there is another brother which I'm going to have. So that was so nicely explained.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought, yeah, his mother was the hero, man. The, like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
maybe the first half of the book, she was the hero actually.
Entire the book, I would say, right? Like it's the
Maybe,
whole
yeah,
life or whatever. She only kind of give that environment, right? In like
correct.
she did enrolled him to English school and like the best school, whatever he can get into and all that. So yeah, it's I think pretty much on her. Like, and he talks a lot about her mom, right? It's
Yeah,
I would say 50 to 60% book covering
it's about
uh,
his mother only.
her mom. Yeah, yeah,
But I think she deserves it actually. The way, I
yeah.
mean, from from that point to where Trevor is now is, like, actually it's a very amazing story. Like, he didn't really talk about how he became a stand-up comedian though, but uh, I mean, that's a good part also. I really don't want to. After reading the book, I was expecting that in the book actually,
Hmm.
but even after finishing the book, I didn't find it. I thought, okay. Then after a few days, I realized, okay, it's good that he didn't mention about how he actually became a stand-up comedian. It maybe more of success stories, right?
Yeah.
So
I did search, so I also had this question. So I did bit of search on internet. So what I figured is he started some show on the radio in South Africa, which kind of got good response. Then he become part of some reality show kind of thing again, like so. Initially, he was not doing the comedy; like he was more kind of host and all that radio RJ kind of thing. He was involved, but later on he picked this comedy thing and he did the European tour and everything. That's where he got the more fame, right, in the Europe side. And then later on, I think the first big thing for him was this comedy show, right? Like that's made him the international figure. Uh, this late night show which we are talking. So I think and it's not too part, like it's happened in last 5 to 6 year only, right? So his whole
yeah,
fame is not too in past. It's recent only, like in 2014 or 15. After only he like became such a big uh, celebrity and got famous.
of course, man, he's not that old compared to us. So
Yeah, that is also there.
that's why I said, right, when I was suggesting, he's very like too young to write a memoir, but it's a good memoir.
But yeah,
But
he has such a that many of experience, right? Like so, yeah.
I wonder how could he remember all those stories, man? So uh,
Yeah,
I don't remember much of my childhood stories. Not too many.
but maybe because it was not that much, that many things are happening. It's a kind of, I don't want to say, at least for me it was not it's kind of monotonous, right? Like there are few things, but not that much, right? It doesn't make a book. It's just maybe 5 pages, that's it. that too
Same.
I have to that too I have to make it more out of the context, and then only it will become 5 pages, kind of that.
I think it's the same with me. The the I mean, if you talk about my childhood, the main thing I'll remember is only food. Like the connections are always with food. Like if I go to a place, okay, I had something here, and not never stories like Trevor.
Yeah. Okay. Do you recall any other incident which you, when you think about this book?
Uh, I think we already talked about that language part, right?
Yeah.
People do not know that he knows the language, and they try to tease him. So
Yeah. To me, like another incident which I like. So he get his best friend was Teddy, right? Teddy or Tim, I don't know. So I think it was Teddy. So they went to this mall and they see there is an, they kind of do the little bit of stealing from there. And at one day, like the security guard notices that they are doing stealing in this mall, and then the he talk about the good run which happened, and then his friend got caught but he didn't. And then when the police came to school, right, he was like, they show him the video, but since this whole video was in black and white, it couldn't detect his face. So the police was never able to figure it out that the Trevor itself in that picture, but they were keep on asking that you must be knowing since your friend was there and there was another person with him. So they mark it as it is some white kid, right? So they never thought that Trevor can be the part of this whole thing.
oh, I don't
So
remember this, man. I remember that one of them gets bashed, but I don't remember after the like scene. Like they come to the school
yeah,
and fight.
yeah.
Oh, nice, nice.
And another one, right? Like so later also when he took the car of his stepfather Abel, and police caught him, and he spent almost a week in jail, right? And he's kind of prepared his mind that I have to go in prison and I will be there for a few years, and then and on all that. That is also interesting
Yeah,
conversation. Yeah.
There is one movie, man. I don't know if you watched it. You watched Invictus.
Maybe not.
I think you should watch it now. It's kind of a follow up to what we read. So
Oh, is it?
this is
Okay.
this is Morgan Freeman playing Nelson Mandela and what actually happens after they got independence. So it's about a football game, but it also covers bit side, some politics side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can clearly see how the white people like they get scared what happens to their positions. Now Nelson Mandela is their new president, and
Mm-hmm.
they kind of in that insecure positions. So yeah, it's a good movie. You can watch it actually. Old
Sure,
movie,
I will.
old movie
Mm-hmm.
though.
I hope it's not in black and white. That's it. That's the minimum criteria.
It is not black and white, but the print is kind of old.
Okay, I see.
Why man?
Yeah.
You should watch black and white movies also. I can suggest you.
I don't know. I never watched it. I've
Very interesting black
given
and white movies in English. Seriously.
yeah. So, and also I don't know much about the Nelson Mandela. Like I've heard it, like it's kind of Gandhi figure in South Africa, we can say, right? Like, but that's the only thing I know. But I would love to know more, like how he ran the this freedom fighting and all that, because that would be interesting to know. Yeah. But
Yeah.
first, I need to read more about the Gandhi as well, right? Like, I feel like we don't know much. So there is one book, "Experiment with the Truth," for like it's about the Gandhi. I would like to. It's in my list, so I don't know. But definitely, I wanted to read that.
I mean the problem with these kind of books, right? They are distorted, as I said. So I don't have like very good opinion about reading that, but yeah, always you can get a perspective. Might not be right,
Mm, yeah.
might not be what happened. I would say it's not
Again, the biased version of something, right?
correct. 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 That's why I'm very hesitant to read such books.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I also don't want to read highly opinionated book, right? Like which has driven by some strong opinion, because I don't know, like that will kind of influence you that okay, that's the only version of truth exists, which is not true, right?
Which is not true. Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
This is why at least biographies are better in that. At least the person who is
yeah,
writing is talking about himself. Is not even if it is biased, it is fine because it's about him. It's not someone writing about him. So
yeah, that's true. Okay. Any final thought? So if you have to, what is your takeaway from this book? Like, if just have to put in one or two line.
nothing like that, man. It's a very like, I felt it's an interesting book to read. That's all.
Yeah. So
I
that's true. It's more of the like journey, right? Like you just
yeah.
living through his world.
So I liked it very much because it is something I didn't know. So how
Mm-hmm.
South Africa faced Dutch and all also I didn't know. Never knew about apartheid and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And very late they got independence. I think they got it in 90s or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
To me, I think one thing which everyone can take is how we take things for granted, right? So I think gratitude, right? That's the right way to put it, because whatever you are today, it's the circumstances, right? What if you born in? I think everything matters, right? Where you born, in which era you are got born, right? And how's your country doing as a whole? How the world uh, thinks at that point of time, and that will decide your life. Like we think, like it doesn't matter how much talented you are, and everything is there, but at one point, like the environment and you are lucky in that sense, right? Like where you are getting born and everything come into the play. We may not think in that much, but that has major role to play, right? So gratitude is something that we take so many things for granted, right? Like so, we have to be thankful that okay, what if you were born in the South Africa during that time, right?
Yeah.
Completely different fate, right? In that sense, we are lucky that we born in India and that after the freedom and everything, right? So we had leading some different life, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was something hit me, right?
So yeah, we are privileged, man. So
Yeah.
my father used to tell me what happened at the time. So so our place is completely ruled by Nizams. Okay, so you might have heard about Nizams.
Hmm.
So
Not much, but just heard him. Yeah.
yeah, it's like Mughal. They are not Mughlais, but they are also kind of came from the other part of India. Not other not other part of India. Maybe from Middle East somewhere. So now
Mm-hmm.
in the Telangana area, and there were times my grandfather used to hold all the money or gold or anything. Right? He used to tie them in a bag, and they were trying whenever they were being chased. I don't know. I don't remember the reason he told, but whenever they were being chased, they need to they need to cross a canal actually.
Mm-hmm.
So he used to take he took his whole family, and like crossing them canal by holding all of that money and all, and staying somewhere for like another 2 3 weeks, and then coming back to the like hometown and all. Yeah, I mean, I feel really we are privileged.
Yeah. That's true, and then we take it for granted. Like, so if you sometimes if we just step back and think about it, then like, okay, you thankful to whatever you have today and be content with that, right? So it's kind of balancing out yourself. So it helps in that way.
Uh, these people are strong, man. So Trevor Noah is
Yeah.
strong. One of the
Yeah.
if you hear about Zekovic's story also, right? He brought up in a time where Serbia was going through like serious war. It's like they were even having trouble to eat also. Like people
Mm-hmm.
were throwing food packets once in a while, like once in 2 days, 3 days, and they don't know when they get bombed. And
Yeah.
from that area and from that country, like he's became like world number one now, and everyone like not many people like him because of his aggressive nature, but uh, he's very strong. If you know about his story,
I didn't, but yeah, that's
because
so.
he said
And
it for granted.
yeah,
I remember his story also.
that's true.
He's also not. Tennis is a very costly game, very expensive game, and he is also like one guy. He has home at a skating place, so they they run. His father is a skating trainer or something. So very like what do you call? Not, yeah, kind of a poor family, but now is see number one at tennis.
Mm. Nice. Yeah, and then so interesting thing is like it's not the past we are talking. There are countries, right, like Middle East countries, which are going through this phase, right, all the time, war-like situation. So there are people who will be equally talented or more talented, of course, more talented than us, who just not able to shine because they didn't get the opportunity, right? It's so yeah. Okay.
Okay, man.
Yep, I
Good
think
things.
we covered pretty much in the book. Any last or we can wrap up. Any last thought?
Nothing, man. Just watch the Twin Victors. So it's kind of a follow up for some of what you read.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Perfect then. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
and we'll come up with the next book,
Are you
which we
going to
have to
read?
read.
Are
Sorry,
you going to, are you going to read Bad Blood?
I already ordered, so it came yesterday.
Oh,
So I will start this weekend
believe
and
me,
see.
believe me, reserve 2 days for it. Actually,
Oh,
you'll
is
not
it?
stop. You'll not stop reading it. It so gets to you actually.
Okay. So I haven't decided. It just came last night, like in the evening. So yeah, we'll start maybe tomorrow.
It, it takes time, but once you're put into the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I read it in like 3 days, man. I think this was one of the fastest I've ever read. It's a huge book. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah. Let's see how many days I finish.
Yeah,
I will let you
I
know.
could leave, man, at the time. It's a Christmas time, so I took holiday and read that book. It was so amazing. Like 3 days, I was in that.
So if I took off on Monday, you know why it is. Okay.
I would be glad, man.
Cool. Okay. I think we can end this session. Okay.
Sure, man.
Cool, man. Thank you so much. We'll see
Man,
you
sure,
in
man.
next time talking bad money. Bad money is it or what was that?
Bad
I
blood.
forgot. Bad
Bad
blood.
hit.
Sorry. Bad. Yeah. Bad blood.
Hopefully, see you, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. See you. Bye.